politicians who say something. Welcome to the New Orleans Humanist Perspective, presented by the New Orleans Secular Humanist Association, following our few principles of humanism.
We're committed to the use of science and reason for understanding the universe and for solving human problems. We're skeptical of untested claims of knowledge, but we're open to new ideas.
We are concerned with securing justice and fairness in society and in ending intolerance and discrimination. We are committed to the total separation of religion and government.
We affirm humanism as a realistic alternative to the theologies of despair and the ideologies of violence. We reject the concept of an afterlife and believe in living a full and rewarding life here and now.
We value and respect each individual's right to judge and lead their lives according to their own position, as long as it's respectful of other people, living in a free society.
We hope you enjoy today's program and others in the weeks to follow. Hello, folks. Welcome back. We're always happy to have you with us. I have today as my guests representatives of the Greater New Orleans section of the National Council of Jewish Women. And to my right here is the president of that group, and her name is June Leopold. And next to her is Kahn, who is not only, she is my friend and neighbor of many years. Welcome you both, and thanks for being on our show. Well, as you know, we, the New Orleans Secular Humanists, which is the sponsor of this show, we are non-religious, and I'm having a Jewish show today. But I am Jewish, and I'm proud of my heritage. It just isn't my religion, and I suspect there are many more like me in the community. Now, what I'd like to ask you, just to get things started, who are and what is the National Council of Jewish Women?
Well, the title is the National Council of Jewish Women, but it can include anybody in the community, anybody in the country. And as a matter of fact, it's more than just a national. They're in Canada, and there are several countries in Europe and in Israel.
So it is now international, not just national.
It is an international. So the largest group is right here in the United States. It also is a community-minded organization. It was organized by a Jewish woman for a group of people that she knew back in Chicago in 1893.
Well, I remember that
Hannah
year.
Solomon, as a matter of fact. And it was organized here in 1897, so we're one of the oldest sections in the country. But it was organized first to help women become a part of the community, to get the vote, to get an understanding of domestic violence, and all the things that have to do with women who are sort of the forgotten equation of the country.
So your group was active in getting women's right to vote.
Very much so. That was the impetus. It was the first national organization, not made up for that purpose, but made up for the purpose of getting women together to get their rights.
I see. Well, now that you have the right to vote, I think we have a very serious political problem in this country, and I hope you all support the concepts which I also support.
Well, we're nonpartisan, but we do support voter education. So when the different channels have debates, we are part of the sponsoring organizations that do that.
I know that you do.
We get out information about the campaigns, about the issues, encouraging people to vote at all ages and to register to vote. We do all of that.
Well, I'm wondering, because I'm not sure how much public recognition you're getting when you say you're doing all of that. And I read the newspaper and watch the news. Do you have a PR? Do you have a PR person, and you attempt to let the community know what you do?
We definitely have a PR person, but we're a volunteer.
It's a volunteer group.
100% volunteer here in the city.
Oh, and you're president, and you don't get paid.
Not at all.
And Lise,
I don't get paid either.
You don't get anything.
Nope, I don't get anything.
Well, that sounds like me and my group, because we don't get paid either.
That's exactly right.
So you are nonprofit.
Definitely nonprofit.
Tax exempt.
We certainly are.
Now, how are you funded locally?
We are funded by fundraisers. We have a small endowment fund. We just work hard. We have a major fundraiser during the year, and we have contributions from people who are supportive of our organization.
And of course, those contributions are tax deductible.
Yes, they are.
Now, this once a year fundraiser, does it have a theme or a title or what?
Definitely has a theme.
Lisa, tell us something about your fundraiser.
Tell me about the fundraiser. As June said, we work very, very hard, and frankly, I am not exactly sure what the name of the fundraiser is this year. So I'm going to have to kick it back to June, and she'll tell us what it is this time.
Well, because it's the summertime, we take the schedule of the year and we plan it. So the fundraiser is not until March. But we just had one in June, of which Lise was a very important part. And in the one in June, we had it at the English Turn Country Club. We emphasized some of the things that we did. We're very strong in education. We are sponsors of the Hippie Group, which is home instruction for youngsters, for preschool youngsters. And we talk not only to the children themselves, but to their parents and how to read to children and so on.
That has been going on for a very, very long time. Hippie, at least, I would say 40, 50 years.
Wow.
When the Hippie Group was started.
Yeah, not quite, but long enough.
Long enough.
I see. And,
right here, primarily in the lower income group, to teach these young mothers how to take care of their infants, to make sure that they have the proper care, even before they have the child, after the child, to make sure that they know how and when to put them in school, where to put them, what they can do to help these children.
And how does this assistance take place? How do you do this to help these people?
We do it with volunteers, but actually right now, in the past maybe 10 or 15 years, New Orleans public school system has become interested in our program. And so they are a very, very important part of that. We help a bit with the funding, but they supply a lot of the people, a lot of the staff that does that. And what they do is
try to understand.
Yeah.
Where is this one-on-one help with these mothers or expectant mothers?
Pretty close.
It's one-on-one.
Right, pretty close. We emphasize now the education piece, so that when you have a toddler, you go ahead and you teach them their colors, the alphabet, read them stories and so on. Sometimes at-risk mothers or at-risk parents don't have those materials, nor do they have the time, nor do they have the resources in the background, and we supply all of that.
Now, when you said parents, so many of the children in this city have only one parent.
Exactly. But they have a lot of kin.
That creates a problem, though, doesn't it, without having a father figure.
Right.
And so I've just heard or read recently that there's so much crime in this city that they say some of it stems from the fact that these boys did not have a father figure to direct them.
That's very true.
But there's not much you can do about that, is there?
No, that's something that we are not really concerned about, but we know when those children don't have a father, they may have problems in later life. But education is a thing there. But domestic violence, just we are also very concerned with women and their problems. We're very concerned with domestic violence problems too. And we are a sponsor of the New Orleans Family and Justice Center, which is a one-stop shopping for women who have difficulties.
Now, what was this about justice? Let's say that again.
There's an agency in the city, New Orleans Justice and Family Center. And
I'm not familiar with that. Go ahead.
Okay. When women in the community, in the New Orleans community, have difficulties being abused, they can go to this center. And the center has social workers there. They have a tie to the police department if that's necessary. They have a 24-hour hotline. It's a way to help. It's a very big way to help. And then we try. We fund them. We fund a lot of these community programs. We try to give them skills so that they can go out and get jobs or have skills to be independent, so they are not dependent on someone else.
All right. But now, if some of these women who come there feel really threatened, do you have places you hide them or what?
Well, I don't.
We don't.
What the NCJW does is they are a sponsoring of a lot of community agencies. So when I mention a community agency, we do two things when we sponsor them. We are involved with their program by being volunteers and by funding processes.
Okay.
But they have their own staff and their own volunteers. And in the Orleans Family and Justice Center has a very nice, big, qualified staff.
Okay.
And they certainly have They certainly have. Marie Claire Landry over there is the director. They certainly have a lot of resources.
So, but if a woman
we help in a way.
If a woman feels really threatened at home, they can put her somewhere.
They do have places at any time of day or night.
Now, are they or are you involved in any kind of legal action in that respect?
They are. They give them access to legal action there. The agency has that.
Okay, so they could get some court order to keep the abusive man away from them.
They could.
I see. Well, tell me about some of your other activities.
We used to, and we don't do it so much anymore, but we used to sponsor a reading program and math in the schools. We would go into the schools, we would help them with reading, the little kids with reading, we would read to them, or with math. We would also read in the libraries.
Still do that.
And we still do that, which
Okay.
is a nice little thing.
It's called the Crew of Dewey now.
Well, I see sometimes in the paper where they're looking for volunteers, and I've often seen that they're looking for people to read something to someone. That's what you're involved in.
Yes.
The library assigns the reading material. We get the volunteers. We have a tie with New Orleans Public Library and the Head Start program. And we supply the volunteers to read to the children in the library setting. They supply the material that we read to them. They choose the material. And we do have a lot of books that over the years that we have a book partners thing that we've worked with Agenda for Children, in which we've worked with different publishers, and we have a lot of books, and we supply, this is a different kind of a thing, we supply a lot of the preschool teachers and so on with books.
Now, for the ones who come to the reading help, how are they selected?
The library does that.
Well, how do they know which kids need some reading, reading experience?
Well, they work with the They work with the Head Start program and the public school system program.
And so Head Start, they can't send all, or do they send all of their kids, or the ones that they think are having reading problems?
We're in a number of libraries throughout the city. And the more volunteers we have, the more libraries we can go to. So we have a number of volunteers, and we have a number of libraries, and they go on different days to these settings.
Well, from what I have read somewhere,
We'd like to enlarge it.
If a child has a reading problem entering public school, it sets him back seriously grade after grade after grade. So just helping with the reading may change their whole future abilities, right?
Third grade is the benchmark for a person to know how to read. You must know how to read by the time you're in the third grade, because after that you have science and history and everything else that depends on your reading. So it's really important that the youngest of us learn how to read.
Now, I find it incredible, but I have seen reports that said kids get all the way through elementary school and still can't read. How do they manage to do that?
With difficulty. With difficulty. They do get, I'm a teacher too, so I'll talk from that part of my experience.
That's why June is, why June is the expert.
All right.
Yeah.
So you say you are or were a teacher?
I've been a teacher all my life. I was a librarian, so I can talk about books. I'm teaching in the college level now, so hopefully those people read very well. But I have taught in the elementary school for a number of years, so I know the process. And when a child cannot read by the time he is 8 or 9 years of age, it's very, very difficult. He sometimes hides it, but if a teacher or somebody can find it, then they can give them, you can always learn to read.
Yes.
But it takes a little bit longer. If they get tutorials and a lot of help along the line, it's necessary. It's certainly necessary in New Orleans, because you cannot get a job.
I would certainly think so. Well, when it comes to reading and books, I'm sure you're familiar with the library on St. Charles Avenue, and the slave quarter in the back has thousands of books that people contribute.
It's amazing.
And I go there and I can fill up a big paper sack with books from bottom to top, and it may cost me $10 or $12 for all those books. And people who don't read for pleasure don't know what they're missing.
I agree with that.
What are you teaching at the university level?
Sociology.
Well, that goes in with your connection with.
Yes, you always learn something.
Okay, well, all right, let me see.
Council does a lot of advocacy as well. They do an awful lot of advocacy. advocacy.
Advocacy.
Yes.
Advocating
For the children, for the lower income, for justice, but they are a very, very strong advocacy group.
And what form?
June mentioned that they work in conjunction with Agenda for Children. Agenda for Children is also an advocacy group and has been here in this community for a very, very long time.
What form does your advocacy take?
We, the advocacy group, will go to Baton Rouge. We will talk to our senators. We will talk to whomever wants to listen to us up there.
All right, so
for the specific issue that we have on our plate right now.
Now, I don't know about your aims and goals for the state legislature, but our group, and we're as a nonprofit, we can't endorse candidates, but we can take positions.
Same way.
We seem to have lost on all of our issues because the state legislature is impossible. It's, the Tea Party Republicans, and you all may be, I don't know, but the progressive issues just can't get through the legislature, and if they did, our governor would veto them. We have a real problem in Baton Rouge. Do you all feel like you have that problem?
Sure.
It's again, oftentimes you feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall. Occasionally there's a little opening and you can go in there and you can maybe squeeze it a little bit.
I see.
We have two main concerns when we go to Baton Rouge. One is preschool. They're now making a standardized curriculum for preschool for children who are less than 4 years of age. It was always daycare, but now we feel that those children can have a learning process. So we've gone to Baton Rouge to fight for standardized education, and pretty much it's called Act 3. And pretty much a lot of the input that we've met here, a lot of the organizations have met with us, and pretty much what we've advocated hard, has been incorporated. So education with the preschool has been one of our concerns the past couple of years.
You're saying that you've been successful, and they are
pretty much. I mean, it's an organization as a group
teaching something to these.
Well, they're going to implement it like 2015 and 16. But yes, they are going to teach. They're going to have a curriculum. They're going to have certification. They're going to have good facilities. There's a lot of pieces that go with it that are necessary. The other piece that we advocate for, since we're talking about Baton Rouge, is reproductive rights, which is very, very difficult here in New Orleans and in Louisiana.
Well, reproductive rights, you can be on that side or that side. Now, our secular humanists think that women's rights are not the business of government. What position does your organization take?
Pretty much that.
You want the government out of your bedroom.
Exactly. We want women's rights.
All right. Well, we haven't been successful in that, have we?
Definitely not.
Well, I'll tell you what else.
We're still very much aware. I mean, the problem is there, and we're going to be there for helping to resolve it.
Well, who knows? The legislature can change. They can elect different people, but we just have to keep hoping. But one of the matters that we still have a problem with is the Louisiana Education Act, which allows teachers to bring in alternatives to the theory of evolution, which means, they can bring in a biblical explanation.
We're for separation of church and state, the very basic. That's definitely where we are.
Okay, well, and we have legislators who at every session introduce a bill that would try to correct that Louisiana Education Act, and it never gets anywhere.
That's fine.
So look, and we have sent some people to Baton Rouge, and maybe we should join forces and go as a group at some time. Because numbers count.
Yes.
They do count.
Oh, definitely.
And the help would count too.
All right. Well, let's see what else you've been doing that had some note here.
Let me just say a word about we also are very concerned about the health process in our city. Yeah, health care. And so starting right from, at the JCC, they have a wonderful program called ACE.
Called what?
ACE, ACE.
ACE, okay.
It's an Alzheimer's Care Enrichment Program. And it's very well run. it's been going on for quite a long time, 20 years, I think, and we are part of that.
We will invite you to lunch at the Elder Lounge once a week, where you can enjoy a wonderful lunch, maybe a movie, a little discussion.
Yeah.
Lise, I'm not
music.
elderly, I'm old. But now when you say Alzheimer's, which is a really scary disease that sneaks up on you, and it worries me, I don't want it to hit me to the point that I can't make good decisions. It's a scary disease. Now
we work with the caregivers a whole lot. That break in the afternoon, that program in the afternoon, gives them a break as well, with discussion, with music or art. Yeah.
All right. Now the ACE is Alzheimer's Care
Enrichment.
Enrichment. Tell me about how it is enriched.
Just the very same way we're talking about. It offers music and art, and different people from the community come in to talk to the caregivers and to those who have Alzheimer's. We provide transportation. We have a very, very good director there, Allison Freeman, who looks after this, and it's held at the JCC, so it's very convenient. More convenient when they fix Jefferson Avenue.
And when you're talking about caregivers, you're talking about professionals and family?
Exactly.
Because it can be a real problem for a family, can it not?
Yes.
And what do you do to help them do what they need to do?
What we do is the same as we always do. We get involved a bit in the program. Those people who are very much concerned are the people who have had the problems themselves, and they begin it and are involved. We provide volunteers and we provide funding, a location to meet, but also we have a bit of staff there who looks after most of the programming itself.
If someone comes there and the man says, I'm caring for my wife who has Alzheimer's, what do you do for him that makes his life easier or better or more productive or whatever?
I think we can counsel these people, and I think it's terribly important that we give them time to take time off. Caring for someone, being the caregiver, the majority caregiver, is very, very taxing on a person, and I think aside from a little bit of counseling or talking, letting them talk, listening, is to give them time off. Take a break, go have a cup of coffee, go to the movie, go visit with your family, just take time off.
And when they do that, you provide someone to be with the patient.
Yes.
All right.
And it's terribly important.
Now, how much of that is going on right now in New Orleans? I mean, people who are caring for an Alzheimer's patient, you know, who may or may not contact your group, but how widespread is this?
We can speak for the council.
All right.
I don't know if we can speak.
No, we know there are a lot of other groups there.
Else,
we would like to enlarge our,
Okay.
There are other groups.
But you would say there is a considerable number of caregivers who really need some help. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
And I suspect it could be a large number. All right. Well, we're getting, close to the end of our show. Tell us whatever else you would like the people watching our show.
I would like to go back to something June said earlier, and that is that how we try to keep women, and we are still talking about women, maybe how do I say that politely, the lesser.
Yeah, the disadvantages.
Yeah.
The what? Tell me. You don't have to be polite. What women are you talking about?
The single women, the single moms who is having trouble keeping up with daily life.
Yes.
June said earlier that we help them. We help them with the voter registration.
Yes.
And we help teach them, or at least inform them of the candidates. And we hold forums just about, every time there is an election, trying to teach the community, the women in particular, who are the candidates, what do they stand for? Not how they should vote, but who they are, what they stand for, so that at least when they go home, they can think about it, and they have a better foundation, a better knowledge, and they will know where to vote and maybe how to vote.
Do you
and I
have
think that's extremely
Do you have the candidates at those events?
We have the debates. We do sponsor the debates.
Like the League of Women Voters?
We're with the League of Women Voters when we do this type of thing. We are part of that group.
Oh, I see.
And so, yeah. And so what really happens is we have the Y group, the television group, and we have the smaller forums too. But we inform the community that they are powerful with that vote, not to let it go by, to listen to the issues. They are telling you what they plan to do in the future. That makes a difference to your future too. And so
yes, of course. Yeah. Well, we have some elections coming up pretty soon.
And we're starting to organize a debate for the senatorial election right now.
All right. Well, that all sounds very good.
May I also say that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead and then I'll fill in.
That we are also here at Channel 8.
That's where I was going.
Okay,
so it's
great.
Good. Go ahead.
We have a consumer advocacy program, a very good consumer advocacy program, right here at WVUE, in which people who have problems throughout the city get in touch with our volunteers, as a matter of fact, and they try and resolve them, and they're very good at that. I didn't bring any examples, but there are wonderful examples of things that have been resolved, and we are on the air at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, with Sheila Brown as the on-air reporter.
All right, so your PR person is getting...
So it's called Fox 8 Defenders.
All right, well, now, since you do accept contributions, if someone wants to contribute to your group, how do they do that?
They send it to the office, and the office at 6121 South Claiborne, NCJW, if they wish to make a
So this is done through the mail?
You can do it through the mail. You can do it by... We're online, right? You're certainly online.
Well, where would they go online?
The ncjwneworleans.com.
Say that again slowly so people can write it down if they would like to.
www.ncjwneworleans.com. That's our website.
Right. And you accept contributions in any amounts, the larger the better, right?
Naturally.
All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate both of you being here. Lise, glad to see you, which I do occasionally on the street, and I'm happy to have met you.
Yes.
And I hope you folks will support this organization as well as ours, which is NOSHA, New Orleans Secular Humanist Association, and be back with us again next week.
They wanted to travel somewhere and they needed help in doing that. Or if a hospice patient has a special dream in the course of their illness that they'd like to go make a visit to somewhere